Welcome to episode 2 of our What Works for WELLTI in Dubai Insights and Research series. Hi, I'm Timothy Maurice. In this second episode, we sit down with Camille Richardson, who is the Deputy Assistant Secretary, Middle East and Africa at the U.S. Department of Commerce, and we chat about why WELLTI matters and her commitment and the value of women's entrepreneurship to the global commerce community. She has 25 plus years of experience promoting U.S. exports to many markets globally, including South America, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. And as you'll hear, she brings passionate leadership and commitment to the growth of women's entrepreneurship. Meet Camille Richardson. Enjoy.
And we're delighted to have Camille Richardson with us in this conversation. Camille, welcome to this podcast.
Thank you, Timothy. So glad to be here with you guys here today.
You know, we want to accomplish a couple things in this conversation. One is we want to know a little bit more about you and your background, but also about WELLTI and the scope and where it goes. But let's start with you. Share a little bit about you, your background, and your career, where you come from and how you got to this point.
Okay, thanks. So I am a native Washingtonian, and I have spent the past 20 years or so following the coffee and the tea across five different countries in 4 different markets in 3 different continents. So it's been a wild ride, and I didn't necessarily know this was where I was going to go or where I was going to end up, but I did know that I had a passion for having an impact and doing that through diplomacy. So, funny story, when I was a sophomore in high school, I had read an article in Time magazine about nuclear winter and wanted to be an agent of change for peace and found out about diplomacy. So I studied that in both undergraduate and graduate school. And when I was graduating from Johns Hopkins SAIS, which was my grad school, I found out about something called the Presidential Management Internship, or now it's called the Presidential Management Fellowship. And I got into it, and it's sort of a young exec program that fast tracks you into government and really focuses on leadership and sort of cross-fertilization across different agencies. And I got into it. It was amazing. And I ended up working for our Assistant Secretary and Director General of the Commercial Service then. Her name is Lori Fitzpagato. She's still a good friend and mentor of mine. The first black woman to be appointed, actually the only black woman to be appointed to that job. And just really an agent for change. And so she inspired me to join the Commercial Service, which is the foreign service arm of the Commerce Department. And we have a global network. We have offices in the United States. We have almost 80 commercial posts worldwide. And so that's what I've been doing for the past 20 years or so. Actually, it's more than that now, probably about 25 years. Time has flown. Time flies when you're having fun. Yeah.
I just think about the women who've inspired me. I think I dedicated my career to my mother. You know, when I was a kid, my mom and dad did sort of the same job, but my dad got paid more because of the gender pay gap dynamics.
Yeah.
And it's just it's incredible how one story or one person's influence on your life can radically change the trajectory of your life and your career. Right. Is there anyone else that's inspired you, like on your journey? You know, the women that you look back at and just like, wow, that woman, whether it's a family member or anyone.
Well, you know, my mother has had a huge impact on my life. And in fact, she's living with me now. She's 91 years old. Oh, wow. She was an educator, and she taught me to read when I was 3. And she's always been very ambitious for me, always really pushed on the value of education and going as far as you can go with education. I think she was a little bit disappointed I didn't go after my doctorate, but I guess it's not too late. It's never too late. You can be a lifelong learner. And so I think just that push to achieve, to exceed expectations just really instilled in me an ambition, a work ethic, a vision. I don't think she really envisioned me leaving the United States, and she was a little bit worried when I did that. But it's kind of also on her because she's the one who sent me to a bilingual preschool, and she's the one who had me studying languages, you know, very, very early in life. So I kind of caught that international bug early on.
Let's talk about WELLTI.
Okay.
You know, I'm really blown away. You know, there are a lot of women's organizations in the world, but you know, the ability to connect women to specific opportunities and resources has been, particularly for me as I've observed and hear from other women, have been particularly inspiring. Take us back to the origins of WELLTI and the purpose and the value and the meaning for you.
So I've been mentioning the silver lining and the gifts of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we realized that women were among those hardest hit by the pandemic because they had to balance work and home life, but it became even more exacerbated when work and home life suddenly collided at home. Yes. I think everyone's been on a Zoom call or a WebEx or whatever, Teams call, where the cat is walking across the keyboard and the baby is running in the background and the dog is barking, So women were really struggling with this. I think everyone was, but women especially were struggling with this. And so we wanted to give women the data, the resources, the information, the contacts. And we knew that once they had that, they can run with that and reposition themselves for being among those hardest hit to leading change and coming back from this better than ever. So we see women as leading economic recovery, leading economic growth. And so we wanted to inspire women to get involved in trade because we realized, and I know this from doing this for such a long time, that international trade creates better paying jobs back home and with your trading partner. It enables you to recover faster and to grow faster, but not a lot of women necessarily know that. So we thought, well, why don't we have women we started in Kenya, found a woman entrepreneur with a very inspiring story. She had been importing beauty products from the United States, and she went from kind of having a small shop to having a line of pharmacies just by importing U.S. products because, as we know, the cosmetics business is a multi-billion-dollar global business, and so she has her little piece of it and has been doing quite well, thank you. And immediately a woman in Miami raised her hand virtually and said, hey, can I send you my product? And so WELLTI was born.
Incredible. When you think about the global reach, who all can access WELLTI? Is there any particular criteria or any benchmark you have to come in at? What is the basic parameters of how you engage WELLTI?
So that's been the beauty of the program. We haven't put any early parameters on it. Our intention was really more focused on having women connect with each other, partner with each other, share information, ideas, and resources. And that's certainly what's been happening here at the summit as people have a chance to meet face to face. And it has evolved organically because I gave our commercial posts in Africa free reign. Hey, if you have a great idea, I'm going to rely on you to find the women locally who can come on either individually or in panels and share their perspectives with women over here in the United States. So it just evolved organically, and as time went by, we began identifying more women in digital, more women in tech. We ended up having our posts in Saudi Arabia because, of course, the Middle East posts heard about this and wanted in on it. So we ended up at the end of 2021 in November with an extraordinary session featuring women in tech in Saudi, highlighting our Select USA, which is our investment promotion program, Global Women in Tech program, which essentially gives women tech entrepreneurs access to mentorship, access to venture capital, to bring them here to the United States to then become globally competitive. So it was a little bit of a twist on what we normally do, but this was special because it was headlined by our Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimundo, and the Saudi ambassador to the United States, Her Royal Highness Princess Rima. So it was just an extraordinary event, and we had the woman who had won the Pitch Fest earlier that year present on her experience to inspire more Saudi women and more women listening throughout the Middle East and Africa to get in on this. So we hope that this year at Select USA, which will happen at the end of June, to see more women tech entrepreneurs and more women investors thinking about the United States as an investment destination.
We at KDM, we are really interested in fast-tracking the journeys, helping with procurement, helping with investment, helping with trade opportunities, helping with networks globally, and thinking about the future and the potential that WELLTI can have. What do you see? If you envision the future, what other products could evolve? What other services could evolve? What are your thoughts?
That's a great question, and I like it because of the conversations I've been having. So one of the themes, and probably the most important theme we picked up on through these coffee chats we've been doing throughout the year, has been a desire, a need, and interest in capacity building. And what started happening toward the end of the series, the first series, was that there were women who were coming on saying, hey, I can offer you this service and that service, and here's my perspective, here's how you do this. And that's continuing. So we want what I'm calling WELLTI 2.0 to be focused on various topics associated with capacity building, and to highlight the public and private resources that are available to women entrepreneurs to help them achieve their business goals. So while we're going to remain focused on the trade angle within the International Trade Administration, there are other parts of the department, such as the Minority Business Development Agency, that can focus more on starting from scratch and growing your business. We can partner with the Small Business Administration. There are private programs. I was having a great conversation with Frida Owinga of OIT, the Organization of Women in International Trade, and she phrased it beautifully. She said, I can really support you in building an ecosystem for this. That's what we're really looking at going with this. It doesn't have to be any one thing. It can be an ecosystem of resources and programs that people can leverage and collaborate on. We love to see collaboration among different providers of services. I think that there's a huge pie out there. There's a huge vision that we can design together through collaboration, and that's a key component of WELLTI: inspiration, collaboration, and connection.
Speaking of inspiration, from my final question on my side, you're the first woman in this position. If you look around the world, one of my highlights was when there was just kind of this rolling revelation of women that were the first,
right,
in their positions. Being the first, you've had to confront a lot of microaggressions, you've had to confront a lot of challenges and so forth. If you had to look back at your teenage self,
oh wow,
and let's say she was in the room and you guys had a chance to have coffee, what would you say to her about getting to this point?
You are a stubborn creature, and that will serve you well. However, you get to learn to temper your stubbornness with kindness and compassion and love and understanding for other people's perspectives.
Amazing. Camille Richardson, thank you so much for joining us on the KDM and Associates Women's Leadership Podcast Series.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Timothy. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks, Camille. The plenary sessions, dialogue platforms, and networking schedules were very demanding, so we are very grateful to the Deputy Assistant Secretary for making time to share with us. You can find out more by going to www.trade.gov and searching WELLTI. Until next time.